Rick Hale. It is 2024. It is Mojo Monday. I couldn't be more excited. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to rock 2024, man. Let's get this puppy going.
Let's go. Well, so we've got a one-off Mojo Monday, but it's really not a one-off because we've talked about this before. And I think you interviewed this guy. We're going to talk just real quick since it's the first one of the year around the Miracle Morning. It's a book that was written by Hal Elrod on our YouTube channel, KW Heart of Atlanta YouTube. You could certainly go find the Mojo Mondays where we did the Miracle Morning session if you wanted to get more information. Or, Rick, I think you had him come in for an all in sales meeting. Why don't you just give a little teaser around that if somebody would like to go just hear more from Hal himself?
Yeah. So, for starters, it's a great testament and testimonial to just asking great questions and not giving up because getting Hal Elrod, I mean, he's a New York Times best-selling author to do an hour-long Zoom for free was that's just not doesn't happen. I mean, he's a paid speaker. That's his career. And it was right after the COVID crisis, was hit us. And I just felt like, man, nobody has a better message for us during COVID. And to your point today, there's no better message any day of the week. It's just an amazing reminder. And to your point, also great time of year to reassess how you're staging your day. But it took me, I had to network through a couple of people, and it's all about finding people with influence and capacity, and caught them on the right day after about 10 times trying to break through. And under the pressure and duress of another friend who's a close friend of his, he submitted and he gave us an hour of his best. And it's an amazing hour. You owe it to yourself to go watch.
Absolutely. Rick, I got to make mention just because we're starting our third year of Mojo Mondays. Can you believe we've been doing this for 3 years? It's one of my favorite things. I think we've said that many times, but uh, it's just our way of sharing mindset and really getting the mindset's the key to great success and top performance. And I
Yep.
want to make sure everybody knows that this is that 10-15 minute Monday morning mindset conversation. So let's dive in.
Yeah, and
So
we do it for you. That's the real point of this. We get, ancillary benefit, but we wake up excited to make a difference in the world. And we know that's your mindset too. So let this be the ripple effect that helps you impact the people around you in positive ways.
Absolutely. And I guess our hope is that what we talk about on here becomes conversations in your life, right?
100%. That's the goal.
All right, Miracle Morning. Why is it so important?
Well, I think there's a saying that structure equals freedom. And so, as much as many of us resist structure, I don't think anyone would deny that structure creates a better environment for success, and it becomes more quantifiable, measurable, and predictable. And so, by using any formula for success that works with regularity, you're going to get a better result and a better outcome. And your subconscious brain has fed positivity and reinforcement that you're actually doing the things you tell yourself you should or would do if you had a perfect environment or opportunity because you staged it.
Absolutely. So we're going to go through what Hal calls the S.A.V.E.R.S acronym this morning. The S.A.V.E.R.S acronym just stands for silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. Now,
Mm.
this is his suggestion, and I actually love his suggestion, but the real magic in what we're talking about with you and what Hal's talking about with us is you got to find that routine for you. So let's start off. Why is silence the first thing?
I mean, getting grounded and
Yeah,
becoming centered is the biggest, I think, benefit of silence. And A types, we struggle. I struggle with
I do too.
silence, man. I'm not good sitting around by myself quietly. And I think the secret and the only way I find true silence is in sacred spaces and places where there's no disruption. I mean, it could be in the shower, a hot tub, floating in a pool. It could be sitting on a dock if you're blessed to be near water, or in your backyard or on a patio. But you have to eliminate distraction in order to really embrace silence. And I don't think it has to be 20 minutes of silence. It could literally be a timer in 5 minutes.
I've got a horrible visualization of that statue of the guy sitting there, the thinker, on the toilet. But the truth is, you got to find space in your life where you can let your mind calm down to be able to be at its best and really
Right.
let great thoughts come in. Some
Did you
people
get?
do it through meditation, some
Yep.
people just do it through quiet time, distraction free, but silence is such a centering thing to allow us to be our best version, right? And
Well,
then and go
yeah,
ahead.
you're eliminating the noise long enough for your body to resonate on the frequency that it's striving for.
Yeah, and I think as the world starts moving faster and faster from a technology, from an information perspective, it's harder and harder to find those moments of silence.
Yeah, I mean the scrolling, the world we live in, where your thumb scrolling and you're constantly getting notifications. There's so much just influence from, like you said, technology. And it's back in the day where you had to drive around and find a payphone to call someone. I mean, nowadays, if you miss a text or a call, they think you're either hurt or you've disregarded them, and that's a
Yeah.
sad reality. That so creating that space is vital to desensit, just sensitizing yourself to your own reality and desensitizing the universe that's trying to constantly barrage you with information.
Yeah. Rick, on the last couple of Mojo Mondays, you've actually taken us through like a breathing exercise. And in a way, that exercise has caused all of us to uh, just institute a moment of silence into our life, right?
Yep.
You want to run us
Breathing
through one?
exercises are powerful. 50 quality breaths, maybe exactly the amount of silence you need, just
Yeah.
slow and methodical. Do that 50 times, and I promise you, your body will be buzzing at the cellular level.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's hit affirmations. So, affirmations by definition is what?
Something that affirms. I mean, that sounds redundant.
Yeah.
By the way, we don't pre-script this. This is kind of an organic conversation with
Yeah, of
you,
course.
hopefully, and you're thinking, it's really for you to determine what affirms you, but it's a statement of saying a word or thoughts that reinforce the better version of you or the version you're striving for, or sometimes just the version you are and giving yourself credit for exactly where you are for all the right reasons.
Yeah, so it's a statement, right? It's not a question, it's a statement with a positive tone. I'm saying to myself, I
Yeah.
am this. I am this. I will be this. I live in gratitude. What those statements I'm telling myself, and what happens is our brains live into those statements. Because if you tell yourself something enough, you actually believe it. And sometimes belief is the one thing that keeps you going.
Yeah. And it could be
Yeah.
the one extra step you take that breaks through that barrier of accomplishment. My favorite affirmation isn't even an I am. It's if it's to be, why not me? There
Yeah.
are many days I would wake up early on in my career, trying to build, the Heart of Atlanta group from scratch and just scratch my head and wonder how the heck am I going to pull this off? There's so many moving parts. And, when you've got 1,000 agents running around every day, there's some issue or catastrophe or perceived catastrophe. Truthfully, most things don't actually show up the way you think they will when they first hit your front page news. And I just remember looking in the mirror every morning, going, if it's to be, why not me? Somebody's done it. It can be done again. I'll do the work, and I am fill in the blank, capable, motivated, caring, tenacious.
Yeah.
Those are all affirmations. And
Yeah.
then go live into it by doing the work it takes to actually fulfill that affirmation.
And it kind of takes us to this next one, which is visualization, right? So
It
S
is.
S is silence, affirmations, A, and V for visualization. So in a visualization exercise, I don't know that we're necessarily talking about vision boards, but we could be. But
Could be.
remember, this is a daily morning routine. So if I was a professional basketball player, my visualization would probably be me performing some play or me going through what optimum performance would look like. If I'm a real estate professional, I might visualize a listing presentation. I might visualize a negotiation. I might visualize my lead generation and how that's going. Where does this land in your brain?
Well, it's like you subscript a mental map for how you want things to go, and you also prescribe how you'll manage that conversation so that it's not, it's like if you were told, hey, I want you to be the lead actor in this play, and we launch it on Monday, and you didn't have any rehearsal, any practice, or any perspective around what the other actors were could or should do. Imagine what that would look like. It would be a train wreck. And
Yeah.
so essentially when you go through visualizations, you're basically rehearsing the play in your head. You're already running the play. You've run it so many times in your mind that when the real moment of truth comes and you have to perform, it's just it's automatic almost. And you're still prepared for deviance or for I guess uncertainty, but you've got this scripted scenario that primes the pump for positivity and for optimism, and your delivery will be so much better.
Absolutely. I think most people at this point in their life have played a game of putt putt. And when you play a game of putt putt, you have the benefit of seeing the hole before you play the game. And most people visualize where they want to hit their ball before they take that shot. In life, we don't always get to see the whole playing field, but sometimes you can still visualize how you expect it to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can create that hole in this analogy, or that listing presentation, or that basketball shot, or whatever it is in your mind. And that's why it's such a powerful exercise, is because if you're doing this, you're putting yourself there, and you're removing some fear, you're removing some anxiety, but you're also allowing your brain to go to optimum performance before you actually perform.
Absolutely. It's a mind mapping
The
strategy.
mind map. Yeah.
And Gary Keller would tell you, you know, there's two voices, and I learned this early on. And there's the one in your head, which is that visualization voice that's either saying you can't, can, or shouldn't. And then there's the executable of you know, your reality in the real world when you go do the work. And if they're misaligned, the odds of landing where you expect or want to are just diminished greatly. So visualizations are powerful.
Love it. Exercise. It's January, so everybody's on their exercise game, at least for the next week. But the point of this is, uh, if you're looking for a miracle morning, having exercise in the morning is a big part of setting your day up for success, and ultimately setting your life up for success. Does that mean you have to spend 2 hours at the gym every morning? No, it could be a shorter exercise routine, whatever works for you. But having some level of exercise in the morning is crucial to helping you find that miracle morning.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it that physical exercise, you know, fires off endorphins and gets the body going, and the chemistry supports the visualizations and the mind mapping. And it when you have a strong sense of self confidence, and self confidence comes from physical stature and feeling capable of success, you know, both mentally and physically. I mean, they have to operate in unison and harmony. So there's no doubt 30, 45 minutes is probably all you truly need if you're effective, efficient, and purposeful.
Yep.
But it's a huge, huge jump in, you know, like us energy wise. It's funny how you expend energy to exercise, but I think the give back is a multiple of that.
There you go. Um, Reading. That's the R.
Mm,
Reading. So reading, one of the best quotes I've ever heard said to me, and I'd share with you, our listeners, is the two things that change your life the most are the people you meet and the books you read. So
mm.
if that statement is a truth, if you institute reading into your life every morning, you're changing your life. And it's just an encouragement. I mean, I love to sit down for 2 hours sometimes on a weekend and just read, but you're not going to have that ability if you're creating a morning routine. So it could be a chapter, it could be 10 pages, it could be a 10-minute read in the morning. And I'm not talking CNN or Fox News, I'm talking something that enriches your brain, whether
Right.
fiction or nonfiction, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean Gary Keller himself. I'll reflect one more time on a story. I guess he read the Star Wars trilogy, and that's where Red One and Red Two, R ones and twos came straight out of Star Wars, which is how we classify our recruiting strategies for team leaders. And I found that super fascinating. So there's quality, feedback, information, and inspiration in all genres, but obviously in the self-help or the stuff that helps with psychology of people and yourself and understanding the way the world moves in that realm. Super powerful if you're in sales or communications or any sort of, where you're required to connect with people. Um, I met a guy, I was blessed to meet a man, his name's Kevin Hall, and he wrote the book Aspire. And
Yeah,
aspire by definition is to breathe life into. And you know exactly who I'm talking about because you
I
were at the
do.
event. But he was on a bus with me for about 25 minutes headed to tour Walt Disney. I think it was his original home or something that's now a museum. And he said, I subscribe to the belief that everyone should carry two books with them. And I said, yeah, what would they be? And he said, well, the one you're reading and the one you're writing, which the last is scribing, which will that's a perfect
Yeah.
segue into that one. And I just remember thinking, man, that's cool. And he had a notebook, a journal with him. And as we spoke, he took notes. And it was an amazingly kind and thoughtful way to have a conversation. Made me feel important, which is a key element to relationship building. But then he went ahead and shared a couple of the books that he was reading. And I thought, man, that's a brilliant way to live your life.
100%. So yeah, let's roll to scribing. So some people might translate that to journaling, but it didn't work with the savers analogy. So I'm assuming that's why the word scribing's on there. But the point of
Divergence.
it is do you take your brain through a pen and put it on a piece of paper? Do you allow your thoughts not to be just a passing thought in your mind, but does your thought actually transpose onto something that has a little more shelf life than the blip in your brain? And my experience, Rick, is uh, through my coaching relationships, I find myself doing the most scribing. And what I mean by that is when my coach and I are having a conversation, a lot of times that conversation's not finished. And a lot of times that conversation is left with me in thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I take those thoughts and allow them to come out on paper. And sometimes it comes together and sometimes it doesn't, but it causes my brain to expand upon something that I've been thinking about. But the act of scribing allows it to just expand. I think it's probably the best way I could explain it.
I think it's great. And that's a great way to explain it. And another aspect to what you're doing is that your brain is a riddle solver trying to solve the world's riddles. And the riddle you give it is the riddle it solves. And it doesn't know made up from real. And if it's the bleeding edge news that's constantly permeating your subconscious mind, it's working on a riddle that has no solution and it doesn't benefit you because you can't solve, someone who randomly runs into an environment and starts shooting people. But the riddle of, how do I impact people or grow my business or expand my sphere or make a difference? These are great riddles. And journaling will expose a riddle that gives your brain time to percolate, think about, work on. And it's a great riddle to have. And I find journaling does that for me. I'll write not only positive affirmations or acknowledgments, which is I've got a current coach, in fact, that's put me back on the track of acknowledgments. And I'd gotten away from it because, we all reach a point in life where you're like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I've done this, done that, figured that out, succeeded here. But it's easy to let little things go that are big things. And you want your subconscious brain to also feed on the success that you're enjoying in the moment so that it inspires that next level or next step. And so she's got me writing 5 acknowledgments and 5 gratitudes a day in my journal. And it's a good starting place for journaling in general. And then I'll let those thoughts feed, what's the query, the question, the opportunity, and what wisdom would I pass on if I had it locked down and understood and clear enough to share. And so
Yep.
that's kind of how I approach journaling.
So
And I'll
let's,
also include funny things like, so just last thought, what happened that day? Who said what? Who did what? What do you find amusing, entertaining? And, if someone found it later, would they find inspiration, motivation, or possibly just humor? Life's funny.
yep. So Miracle Morning. I mean, it sounds like we talked about a lot, but if you create a routine, it's really not that much. So 10 minutes of silence, 1 minute of silence, right?
Yeah.
Uh, 2 minutes of affirmations. Um, a visualization could be combined inside the silence. It also could be just a purposeful way of thinking about something. 2 minutes. Exercise 30 to 45. Reading 10 minutes. Scribing 10 minutes. We're talking, you could really put this together in an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah,
And your mornings, and not just your morning, but your life would drastically improve. But it takes discipline, it takes being purposeful, and it takes having a roadmap like S.A.V.E.R.S is for all of us to create that routine to change your life.
absolutely. And you can double down on some of these while exercising. You can listen to an audible. So
Yeah.
you can two for one a category or two. It's hard to scribe and work out, but you know, I guess post silence affirmation visualizations, you should be in a position where scribing is an easy transition point or jump off to exercise and reading.
Yeah.
Also good, by the way, to scribe late at night just to brain dump so that you don't carry that into your sleep and affect the quality of your sleep where your brain is in working overdrive trying to again solve riddles.
There you go. That goes away from the morning miracle morning, but we'll leave it there.
So
Hey,
what are you
it's what
reading
works
right
for
now?
you,
Let's
right? It's what works for you.
absolutely. And so here's a
Yeah.
question. What are you reading now? And we'll close out and let folks get busy with their
Yeah.
savers.
So I'm going on an interesting journey right now around finish lines. And I tend to play the game where I want to cross off the goal, accomplish the finish line. And I realize not everything in business and life has a finish line.
Hmm.
So I'm rereading Infinite Game by Simon Sinek because I believe that's really what that book's about. It's about how do you be your best in an infinite game, not a finite game that has a finish line, but an infinite game. And so I'm seeking, I'm reading on that, and then at your encouragement, I picked up that book, Fearless Living. And I think you're reading it and I'm reading it. And we'll probably maybe do a series, a Mojo Monday series on it in the future. But I'm
Yeah.
excited about cracking that one.
Yeah, it's fascinating how fear of failure and fear just drives most of our decision making in life and what
Yeah.
we're willing to challenge or willing to I guess put at risk
Yeah.
or
What
what
are
we're
you
not
reading?
is it's very strong. So the others die with zero. That's what I'm reading. And the idea or the concept is living life to the fullest today and not waiting till after you're dead to expend resources or until after your health is maybe in depletion and not as well as it is. Go climb Mount Everest today, and not literally, but figuratively, and making sure that you're living a counterbalanced life and expending resources before it's too late to really enjoy them. It's a
There you
great
go.
book. It's a good read.
So here's 2024. Start your year off amazing. Get your routines in place. Let them become your habits and make 2024 amazing.
Absolutely. Let's go get it. Come
Let's
on.
go get it. Come on. All right, Rick. Well, listen, Mojo Monday is my favorite time of the week, and off we go, sir.
Let's do it. Love you guys.
Forget all the hate, do a shimmy shake, put the pedal to the metal.